King Lear, loving daughters. Hundreds of years ago there was a king of Britain called Lear. He ruled for many years until he was over 80 years old. Then he began to feel tired. One day he asked all his highest ministers to come to the royal court. He also invited his three daughters, Goneril, Regan, and Cordelia. My lords, I am tired, he said to his ministers. I no longer wish to rule this country. I want to live the rest of my life peacefully and quietly and prepare myself properly for my death. The old man paused and looked at his daughters, Goneril, the oldest, who was married to the Duke of Albany, Regan, who was married to the Duke of Cornwall, and his youngest favorite child, Cordelia, who was not yet married. Daughters, he said, I am going to divide the kingdom into three parts, one for each of you to rule. His ministers looked at each other in surprise. They were quite shocked when the king continued. But before I decide who gets the biggest part, I plan to find out which one of you loves me the most. Goneril, you speak first. Goneril was as surprised as everyone else by her father's strange request, but she just thought that he was behaving this way because he was a very old man. I love you more than I can say in words. I love you more than my life and more than freedom, she said. I love you more than any has ever loved father. Child has ever loved her father. The king was delighted. That was just what he wanted to hear. Pointing to a map in front of him, he drew a line round one third of his kingdom and gave it to her. Now it's Regan's turn. The king said, Regan, determined to win as much, as much, if not more, of the kingdom as her sister. She knew the king of speech that would make her father happy. I love you quite as much as Conrad does, she said, and more, for I am only happy when I am with you. How lucky I am to have such loving children, thought Lear, very pleased. He gave Regan one third of his kingdom too. Now, little Cordelia, what would you have to say to your old father? He smiled. He wanted Cordelia to say even nicer things to him because he loved her more than either of the others. But Cordelia knew that her sisters had lied to the old man. They had tricked their father, knowing that he was old and that his mind was no longer clear. Cordelia loved her father, but she was sure that it was wrong to use her love to win his kingdom from him. Besides, how could she explain her great love for Lear in words without sounding as fast as her sisters? He hoped her father would understand, and so when the king asked her what she had to say, Cordelia replied nothing. The king was very surprised by her answer. She who says nothing will get nothing, he exclaimed. How could his Cordelia say such a thing to him? And in front of all these important people, have you nothing more to say, child? Father, I love you as child should love a father, no more, no less. I can't say that all my love will always be yours, as my sister said. Half of my love must be for my future husband. Hearing this, Lear's face turned red with anger. Her cold words compared with the sweetness of her sister's speech proved only one thing to him. Cordelia did not love him. she would be punished for it. King Lear had always had a bad temper, and it had got worse with age. You ungrateful girl, he shouted, stamping with fury. You are no longer my daughter. I'll give you nothing, no land, no money, everything that would have been yours. We shared between my loving daughters. He told the court his plan. The Duke of Albany and Cornwall and their wives would rule the kingdom together. Lear would Lear would keep the title and royal position of king, and he would have one title, and he would have 100 noble soldiers to attend him. He would live with each of the two older daughters in turns, staying a month with Goneril and then a month with Regan. The king's noblemen and servants did not know what to do. It was clear that the king was not behaving very wisely. In the old days, he would never have made such a poor decision. Only one man dared to risk speaking to the king in Cordelia's defense. This was the Earl of Kent, a honest nobleman. In honest nobleman, he bravely came forward and warned Lear that he had rewarded the daughters who loved him least and punished the one who loved him most. Lear refused to believe that he could have such a, have made such a mistake. How dare you question a king? He roared. Get out of my sight. If you have not left this country within a week, I shall have you killed. Kent knew it was useless to argue, looking at Lear, who seemed terribly unhappy despite his anger. He felt very sorry for him. He calmly accepted his punishment. Two men, the Duke of Burgundy and the King of France, had asked Lear if they could marry Cordelia. Now he had them both before him. This young girl Cordelia is no longer my daughter, therefore I am giving her no land and no money. Do you still want her? He asked. Burgundy looked rather upset. Without a third of the kingdom, he wasn't sure marrying Cordelia was such a good idea. However, the king of France loved Cordelia for herself. He didn't need kingdoms to persuade him to marry her. He accepted her with nothing. Cordelia loved him for it. Take her then, shouted Lear. I never want to see her face again. Before Cordelia left for France, she spoke privately to her sisters. She begged them to take good care of their father in his old age. I am sure you do not need to tell us about our duty to the king, was their proudly reply. Cordelia left Britain feeling very sad. She thought she could care for her old father much better than her sisters.